Connors, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions. Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Dobby. Welcome you to another Cutter Degrassi Unpopular Opinion. So I was trying to rack my brain about more unpopular opinions and all of that. So I went through my Degrassiisms and found some stuff that I can actually talk about that may ruffle some feathers. So anyhow, I did Degrassiisms on the top season premieres and finales in Degrassi history. You know, going through 18 of them and did a top 10 on them. Looking through my season premieres, like there were a lot of great ones and all that. But one of them stood out to me as the greatest ever. Now, you may know that, you know, I'm much into the next generation, the NG's era from seasons 1 to 7. Basically, that's a lot of my videos from a Degrassiism's point of view, or even a Cutter Degrassi unpopular opinion. And the simple fact of those two things is that a lot of them came from the first few seasons, especially season 4. But the simple fact is that, you know, the whole thing was huge. And normally the first few seasons I like better than the other seasons. But I found season 7's Standing in the Dark one of the best season premieres around. Now you'll be thinking, season 7, why so? Well, I'll explain for that later. Now, I did the post about season 7 having the best premiere ever. And all that. And Love Choke on Reddit said, yeah, it set the tone for the season. Perfect. So here's what I said. Not to dismay at any other season premiere, such as season 2's when Craig is introduced in season 4's with Paige Right Trial, but it's season 7 as the best season premiere ever because of the two subplots being huge. Darcy going to a party and getting roofied and dealing with the fallout should have been in subsequent episodes, and with Lakers who had two rogue students go after JT, one fatally stabbing him in season 6, and then that school headed to Degrassi in season 7 because of the fire. We don't even know the details. It causes issues for Toby because his best friend died at the hands of a Lakers student. It was huge. And of course, this does set up Darcy's issues in season 7, and Lakers having students take over for the graduating class of Emma and all to extend the show's longevity. It's a classic setup to add more to Degrassi's library. Now, I know you're thinking, what the heck are you trying to talk about? Well, of course, there's a lot of things. So first of all, I know season 1 had Mother and Child Reunion, which rebooted the Degrassi franchise and had Emma being catfished. And some OGs being there. Season 2's was When Doves Cry, when Craig is introduced as a character who hangs around Angie, as in Joey's kid, and Joey can't put his finger on it, but then we learn that Craig's dad is abusive towards him. Season 3's season premiere having the one that Spike, you know, is about to have baby Jack, and then Emma wants to know about Shane, which she rarely gets any answers about. And then, you know, season 4 with Paige's rape trial happening. Season 5's premiere was what? What was season 5's premiere about? I can't remember what season was. Oh, yeah, that's when Emma wants to go after Peter, but Peter goes after Manny instead. Season 6's premiere is when Sean comes back to Degrassi and all of that, and Peter gets a little jealous. Season 8 was when the gifted class of Claire, Allie, Connor, and Casey come in to replace the graduating class of Emma and all of them. Season 9's season premiere was when Peter got addicted to meth, trying to get into Mia's inner circle. Season 10's was Snake's first day as principal and dealing with a few things. Season 11, I can't remember season 11's premiere. Was it the one with Drew and Bianca? I think it was. Or was that season 12? But yeah, I think so. No, I think Drew and Bianca was season 12. And then you got yourself, season 13 was the one in Paris. Season 14 was something, not I don't know what season 14 was. And the next class, like the season premieres, were kind of befuddling. But still, yeah. But season 7 was huge because this was around the time that, we knew that the guys from season 6 were going to graduate. This was season 7 marked the first time that a Degrassi season didn't start with the first day of school. The other 6 did. Season 7 was just like season 6, having those guys in, like Emma's class and Spinner's class, in a sense. But the fact of the matter was that it set things up. I mean, Peter wanted Darcy to admit that, they can go out. So Peter wants to have a relationship with Darcy and no secrets. Peter's parents are okay with it, but Darcy's aren't, for obvious reasons, because they think that Peter's a bad person. And why Darcy stays with Peter while trying to appease her parents is one thing, is terrible. I kind of don't like it at all. About Darcy being manipulative and still be with Peter, even though Peter is scum and all that. So they go to a skiing thing alongside Manny and her blonde hair. Ugh. Why did Manny dye her hair? It's so ugly. So then, they're on the ski trip and all that. They go to a party, and then Darcy tells Peter, we can't have sex. It has to be above the belt and all that because of her chastity, her purity thing. So then she goes to the bathroom, and someone then comes in and puts droplets into the drink and roofies her. And then she finds out being passed out on the couch or something. No, she was on the couch, and then someone took advantage of her on the couch, and then she was with Peter. I can't remember the full scope. Darcy thinks she and Peter had sex, but Peter said, no, I would never do that. And then they find out that someone made her roofied drinks and all that, and Darcy realizes she got roofied. Unfortunately, the Christian club banned her and take her purity ring because of what she did, and Darcy's just upset. She decides to go to the bathroom and try to slit her wrists and all that. Fortunately, though, Manny finds her. She's in the hospital. Darcy's parents are like, why would she do this? But then Peter and Manny give her back her purity rings, and that it just didn't count because you were raped and all that. And then, in the subplot, Emma and them say, Degrassi looks a little more crowded. It is, with Lakehurst people. It's like, Lakehurst, what are they doing? They soon learned that there was a fire at Lakehurst. So thus, because the school was uninhabitable, they had to move the Lakehurst students to Degrassi because it was the closest in the district. And they could have just sent many Lakehurst students to other schools, but said Degrassi, a convenience. Of course, this is the season after Drake Lampley, the redhead, decides to stab JT in the aorta as part of a Lakehurst Degrassi feud, which only lasted a few episodes. And let's face facts. It just wasn't meant to be. Well, I mean, JT dating Mia and all that was bad for everything. And JT was trying to go back to Liberty. I think as a way as trying to avoid the whole thing, saying that, the whole thing with Lakehurst is bad. Lakehurst wins, I'm going to dump Mia off for Liberty. There's massive fallout from that. Emma causing a lot of trouble between Lakehurst and Degrassi. I mean, Emma had a right to get a little jittery and a little angry over Lakehurst hurting JT. I mean, yeah, all that. I think if the cheerleading competition hadn't happened at Degrassi and Lakehurst was not invited, I think Emma probably would have softened. But no, she was living through a nightmare. Manny moved out, and Manny was avoiding her, and Emma just wanted something to do. She wanted to talk to Manny. I mean, after all, she wasn't comfortable talking to people after Rick's death and after the whole storyline, and she was basically keeping secrets from people for a couple of months. And then she finally decides, I need to talk to Manny because, she didn't have Manny after the Rick situation because Manny left her because of her penance towards Chris. But the simple fact was that, Emma was the cause for trouble. But this time, Emma stayed out of it completely. I think she kind of learned that she had to stay out of it. And then Toby was upset because, his best friend died thanks to a Lakers student. And Toby had the right idea. Toby wanted to take down Johnny and all that. Toby then visits JT's headstone in the cemetery and thinks violence against violence is not good. So he makes a podcast saying that maybe these Lakers people are good. Maybe they're friends that you have never met. So he softens his blow and all that. And, it's amazing that they kept the Lakers storyline going. And, JT in everyone's mind because the fans really love JT and all that. So, yeah, it was shocking. I love Emma for a lot of things, but yeah. But this was huge because this was around the time that people thought Degrassi was getting stale, and it's like, will it end after Emma graduates? Will this be the end of it? But I think the Lakers students were put in by the heads bigwigs at CTV, who had the Degrassi Next Gen thing, saying that we need more storylines. We can add more stories, but they'll be the main headliners and to dump off the original cast, if you will. Like, they brought them for college storylines, but it was like, I don't know. The college storylines were not completely needed and all that, although it did show how much Paige was struggling in a new environment, having panic attacks, and Emma also struggling in a new environment. But yeah, it just seems so wrong. But yeah, I think it's the best season premiere around because it kept Degrassi going. I mean, let's face it, if that season 7 premiere doesn't happen, then we usually don't get to know about storylines like from Holly J, Anya, Sev, Claire, Ellie, Claire, Casey, Connor, Casey, Jenna, and all those students. They would probably be figments of people's imagination. I mean, maybe another Degrassi Degrassi reiteration comes in. But, it kept Degrassi going for many years after that. It kept it going for 11 years after this season. But I mean, yeah, it's a great season premiere. I like it because and it also set up how Darcy was her actions caused other people to get involved, like Snake. Like, it ruined Snake in such a way that it was unwarranted. It made Emma become Panicky Pete as well. So yeah, season 1 had a great debut episode, but I kind of think it was a little bit biased. I mean, Craig's was pretty good too for that premiere, but I think in a way that it was just because both storylines made sense. The subplot for season 2. What was the subplot in season 2? I think it was JT and Toby brawling over having to share a locker because now that it's a full high school now. And season 4, well, Craig getting inheritance money and trying to find out what to do with it. Okay, that's a good subplot. But, it's season 7 because of 2 plots making sense, not just one. So that's just the way I feel. Fight me on it. Anyway,